Hi guys, I'm back and I'm gonna show you how to play with a gel printing plate. This is from Jelly. It's one of the more popular ones. There are several different ones out there, and you can actually make your own at home with like some gelatin and something else. But anyway, it's a lot easier just to go buy one, and if you really love it, then you can make one later. So it's just a printing plate. So I'm just going to show you, what you can do with it. This is very, very basic. I've only played with this a little bit, and so most of these that you're going to see are absolutely terrible, but you save the terrible ones because they make for good backgrounds. So really all you need is your gel printing plate, which will last a really super long time. And then you need, if you want to do some kind of like botanical type things, which is mostly what I kind of do, just a bunch of collection of greenery from the yard. And then of course you need just some kind of paper. This is just regular printer paper. I just cut it in half and use it because, like I said, I'm just starting out with this. It's not really my main thing that I'm doing. It's just fun to do, and I might experiment with it later. But anyway, so just start off using some plain basic white printer paper, and then you can also just use some of this, the cheaper craft paint, the more economical craft paint, excuse me. And I just got this from Walmart. And I also have some Arteza. These are iridescent. They're really pretty, but I find I like the dull colors better, but we may play with those, I don't know. And then of course you're definitely going to need a roller. This is just a small one that I got from, I want to say, probably Michael's. And it doesn't have to stay clean. I usually wash it off at the end of the day, but I don't, because like these little bits and pieces, if they come off in your print, it looks really cool. I also have a couple of pieces of sponge. These are good for if you have a stencil. You can just squeeze a little bit of paint on there and blot it down on the stencil. So keep some little pieces of sponge around. Baby wipes work really well for cleaning your gel plate. If you don't want to transfer, say, purple onto your, green and pink, print the next time, clean it off really well with your baby wipe and just let it dry, and it works really, really well. And then these are some old leaves that I have. Sometimes I use those. And you can use anything to make a pattern. You can I like to use like the edge of a popsicle stick to make kind of lines. So when you put your paint down on your jelly pad, you just kind of do this and it'll pick up some of the paint and leave an impression. So you can try that. Bubble wrap. I have some big bubble wrap and some little bubble wrap. And as you can see, I've used the little bubble wrap. This works really good for a cool pattern. And then a handful of stencils. These are just real basic stencils. I've only used them, a few times. But you can get some cool stencils, and you can see I've used these quite a bit. I like the patterns. The honeycomb pattern is probably my favorite. But, you just use the patterns and blot it around in certain areas. You don't have to do it completely solid. I like that one. It's just sort of a cool pattern. The bigger your stencil is, though, the better, because you can cover the whole thing if you want. With, like this one, it's only going to cover part of the gel pad, so I can only use it in parts. But that is pretty much it. You need also just some spare paper on the side, because when you get, when you roll your paint onto your jelly plate, you want to take it and transfer the rest of the paint that's on here onto just a piece of paper. Just roll off the rest of the paint, and that way it won't dry all cakey on your roller. So that is basically all you need. So I'm going to set this stuff aside. We're just going to do some real basic today. This is just for fun, really. I am thinking about, because I'm working on different art right now, I'm placing my photography under resin and putting it in a frame that I build from pallet wood. So I've only built one so far. I've been super spring summer cleaning the house in preparation for the fall when the kids are actually going back to school. So I haven't had any time for art. That's why you guys haven't seen me. And I don't do the acrylic pouring anymore. I actually got rid of like all my pouring stuff. Donated it to Goodwill. Pretty much have donated about half my house to Goodwill at this point. So you won't see any more pouring videos from me, but you know, if you want to know about pouring videos, I've got a million of them. So then there's several, you know, how-tos that are, I think, you know, pretty good how-to. So anyway, so you'll just see sort of a variety, and I won't be on here every week, just sort of, you know, every once in a while. So yeah, I'm just going to show you a few of these. And you see this was just, you know, it's just some leaves basically. But you know, if you put it into a frame, you know, cut off that side, you know, they look kind of cool. This one I kind of like. These are just weeds from the yard. That's all that is. And this right here, you can kind of see. Let's see if I can get you maybe a little closer. Maybe you can see a little closer. There we go. You can see this line. This is actually the blue is this was a ghost print, and I rolled blue over top of the pattern that I had already peeled off, and then I had these on there somehow. I can't remember, but anyway, I'll show you what a ghost print is. And that one is kind of cool. I like that. I really like the detail in the pattern. Look at that. Look at the detail you can get. Really cool. And then you're going to have a lot like this that are just sort of, they make a good background for something else. This would be a really good background for something else. Maybe another print on top of that. And then this, you know, background, blah. You're going to have a lot that you really don't like. This was, I believe, a ghost print. A ghost print is when you put your paint down on your jelly plate, then you put your, you know, your leaves and stuff down, and then you put your piece of paper over it and smush it all down, peel it up. That's your original print. Then what's left on the jelly print, on the jelly pad, you put another piece of paper down quickly before the paint dries, because it does dry. This stuff especially dries really quick. And then you smooth that out and peel that up, and what you get is the ghost print. It's usually a lot paler, but sometimes it's really super cool. Just, you know, details. This one I like. Not super impressive, just kind of neat looking. I really love this pattern in the corner. Look at that. Pretty cool. That, I want to say, is also a ghost print. And then just some colorful background. I have no idea how I got that. It's probably partially a ghost print. Another ghost print. You see how delicate the ghost prints are. I mean, this you can kind of see some of the bubble wrap detail. That one's just really ugly. And another one that's just really ugly. And there you can see again, we've used the bubble wrap. That one's kind of neat. Not enough to it. And there you go. Another botanical plain, but still cool. Another plain. This one I was just playing around with my finger, and that turned out really ugly. And there's the ghost print from that. That one's kind of cool. I kind of like that one, sort of. And then you can also do it on, you know, paper, on books. This one is kind of hard to read. This was a stamp that I put on there. You can kind of see the stems from the flowers. And then that's a ghost print. And another ghost print. And that one turned out kind of cool. I kind of like that one. You can see, if you look up close, you can see where the stamp is. And this is where we used bubble wrap and then some stencil. Just playing around. Makes for a good background for something, I don't know. More backgrounds. That did not work. That you can kind of see it's shimmery. The shimmery paint doesn't seem to work as well. More stencil-y stuff. More shimmery paint. That one would make a good background for something. Just, you know, different layers. Boring. Kind of pretty. kind of interesting, sort of, kind of. Ghost print. You're kind of getting the idea what a ghost print is, probably. And then that one's kind of okay. And this one, see if I can get you a little further back so you can see the whole thing. This one I used what's called distress ink, and it reacts with water. It's from Ranger, and it's kind of cool to play around with. I'm not going to do that today because I really can't remember too much about it, so I'd have to practice with it first, but it's kind of neat. But you can see, like, you save a lot of these because they're just cool, but they'd make neat backgrounds. Like this would, you know, with some kind of interesting picture on it, would look kind of neat. It looks like there's like a moose right here. There's a leg, a leg, a leg, a leg. There's his tail end, and then there's his antlers and his nose. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like a moose. I have no idea what that is. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done this. And this again is the distress ink, and it's on black paper this time. It's just black sketchbook paper. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of neat stuff to play around with. And a real simple silhouette. That's the distress ink again. And then that's distress ink and paint. And the stencil is with the distress ink. And that's just a simple, I think that's a ghost print too. Yeah. But see, look at the detail you get with the leaves. Just cool. That's why it's fun. It's just a, you know, I'm not doing this real seriously at the moment, but it's very relaxing. Especially when you pull a print that's like, oh wow, that turned out way better than I thought it was going to. Now you can just kind of see the pattern. See, that would make a cool pattern for something. Like, bring it up close. I mean, you really even could frame that and it would look kind of neat. And you just kind of have to learn, you know, what colors go better on what other colors. And this was, I was just playing around with. Let's see if I can get it a little further back. Yeah. And honestly, I can't remember how I did that. I think I did that with some paper. I cut out like the shape out of a piece of paper and laid it down and then painted down from it, and then I kept doing the same thing. This is all one pull, so I did it, you know, first layer was this, and then second layer was that, third layer was that, fourth layer was that, fifth layer. So you do the first layer, you let it dry, you do the second layer, let it dry, third layer, let it dry, fourth layer, let it dry, fifth layer, let it dry, and then you put, once they're all dry, put one big coating of paint over it, and then slap your paper down on it and pull the whole thing at once. So it's kind of a neat process. I like doing that. And that one's just ugly, more ugly, lots of ugly, but still kind of neat. You know, it's neat just to show you all the different things you can do with it. And then there's some more really cool texture. Look at that. Pretty cool. Kind of boring. That one's kind of pretty. Again, more cool texture. And some more cool texture. That's kind of, see, that would be just a real simple, neat one. Put it in a frame, you know, crop off the edges so it'd be nice and neat. That would look kind of neat. Even that kind of would. And you see what all the different colors do on top of each other too. And see, that's one that I did specifically. Sorry, my foot's in the I'm standing on the table to show you these. But this one you can see is used with some metallic paint, and it actually worked pretty well. This was all one pull, you know, one layer on top of another layer on top of another layer, and then pulled it all off. So it turned out kind of cool. And then this one I actually really kind of like for some reason. I like the black. This is the distress ink again. I don't know if you can't really see the color as well. But it's just kind of, I don't know, I just kind of like that. And here we are back at the beginning. So now you guys can kind of see what we can do with the jelly plate. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the jelly plate. I'm going to put this on pause because this video is already 15 minutes long. So I'm going to put this on pause and we will get on with it. Alright, so I've got my gel pad sitting here. You can see like one of the old patterns on there, but it's been cleaned off. It just sort of stained the jelly plate a little bit, but it's fine. It won't come off on anything else. One thing you have to deal with when you bring these live pieces of greenery into your house is all these little teeny tiny spiders and ants, but that's okay. Alright, so we're going to start with probably a dark color, and I'm just going to put the color down first. And you don't need a lot of paint. You really don't. You just kind of roll it around till it covers everything. And like I said, you really don't need a lot of paint. And you can put more color down. You don't have to just use one color on the first roll. And then you just take it and you roll it across your paper there. And then we're going to put this down just so we can peel up the dark blue paint. Smooth it out real well. Oops. And I just have my gel plate sitting on a piece of paper instead of putting it on top of my bare table. And when you store these, make sure you store them back in your container and just store them between two pieces of paper just like this. Alright, so that's good enough. And you're just going to slowly peel that piece of paper up. And you can kind of see I've got pattern in there, and that's just from the roller and whatever, you know, has sort of made a pattern onto my jelly plate. But it gives it some interesting texture. So we're going to set that aside for just a moment. And I think we're going to go for some deeper, some pink, whatever color this is. And maybe a little bit of color on the other side as well. Maybe just something paler. We'll go for yellow. Try not to go for colors that make mud, because you're going to roll this across there and then you're going to roll it across there, and it's going to... And you pick up your roller instead of just rolling back and forth. It works a lot better. And once you get a nice layer down, roll that pink off of there. And then you can go for your yellow. You see how easy it is to get rid of the pink off of your roller? And I like to leave the texture a little bit. There we go. Whatever that was I didn't like. Roll it off. And then we're going to put some greenery down. Really, however you want. I have no idea what this is going to do because it's very 3D, as you can see. We're going to try it anyway. I've never actually used one of those before. And then we'll just put a interesting pattern leaf in that corner. And then we're going to take this. We're going to try and lay it down exactly where we peeled it back up from, which is hard to do, especially with when you've got that weird plant lying down there. And then just kind of mush it in gently. Make sure you get really close to those plants, because if you don't get close around the plants, you're going to have a bigger space when you pick up your paper. So you just want to kind of mash it down around your plants really nice and firmly. There we go. And then you're going to peel it up slowly, and you can already see, you know, where we're picking up and there we go. That's all there is to it. Very simple, kind of neat. I probably would have liked more texture down in these things, so maybe some more greenery, and then pull it up, and then do some more and pull it up. But this is just simple, 2 layers, that's it. And it just kind of makes a neat print. And then you just set it aside to dry. Now you're going to peel these up, and you see the pattern that it leaves right there. Pull them up carefully and set them aside so they can dry, because you can reuse them over and over again. And we're going to let that dry for a minute. And now we're going to make a ghost print. Now, I probably would typically use some white, but I don't have any white right now, so we'll just use a pale colored paint. I mean, you can see how the pattern is down there, and it looks really cool, especially how this one sort of overlaps that long green stem that was coming off of there. Looks kind of cool. So I think we will use this. This is probably the palest color I have. This, yeah, I think we'll use this one. I was thinking maybe that or the limey green. Let's use the lime green and see what happens. Hopefully that's dry. You can kind of look off to the side and see if it's dry or not. And then just as you would any other, whoops, that paint is not. There we go. Coming out very well. Just try not to touch your gel plate so you don't, mess up your pattern there. I'll move that leaf out of the way. And you can already see these actually make a cool background too. So you just sort of paint all over the place, and then you can print on it later. And you want to do this kind of quick because it will pull the paint back up from your cool pattern. It's a little much paint, so let's roll some of that off of there. There we go. I think that's good. Roll your paint off. Get a fresh piece of paper. Lay it down as straight as possible. Smooth it out. Press nice and firmly. And you can use any, this is acrylic paint. You can also use alcohol, not alcohol ink. You probably use alcohol ink too. But alcohol ink does not do well on regular paper. So you'd have to, I don't know, maybe you could use alcohol ink and Yupo paper. I really don't know what that would do, but the alcohol ink would definitely stain your gel plate. You can use acrylic ink as well. I haven't put watercolor paint on here because I'm not really sure how that would work. It probably, I would think it might stain your gel plate too. Okay, that's good enough. And as you can see, we're already pulling up some cool pattern. I think half the time the ghost prints are cooler than the actual print itself. And there we go. This side's cool. This side kind of washed out a little bit, but it kind of faded off this way. But look at that. I mean, that made for a really cool little pattern. Yeah. And even where the green paint didn't pick up, it just made for more interest in your work, I think. Alright, so there we go. That's how to make a print and a ghost print from a gel plate. So I think you guys should go out and buy one of these. It's definitely completely different from pouring, and you can definitely still use all the same paints from pouring. You don't need to add floetrol or silicone, or you don't have to do mixing paint. It's so much simpler, and it's very relaxing. So and it's super easy to clean up afterwards. It's just, you know, it's a nice, relaxing, doesn't take nearly as long as pouring, you know, pouring paintings, and you have much flatter paintings to save, so you don't, you know, need all the empty space around your house taken up by paintings. All right, guys, so I appreciate those of you who have stuck with me, especially because I haven't been around in a long while. I will try, you know, when school starts back again, I will try and make a few more videos more often on just really anything artistic. And I'll show you my newest work of art in a future video. Anyway, so thank you all for sticking with me, watching the ads. I appreciate that greatly. And just, you know, the occasional hello. I hope you all are doing well out there, and wherever you're on the planet, I hope you're having an awesome day. See you later. Bye.